Here's a step-by-step method to present a literary work. Hello, I'm Anna from L03, and today we'll look at how to successfully present an epic poem from the Anglo-Saxon period, and we'll look at it from a range of literary elements. It may appear a hard task, but we'll break it into small sections so that the activity will become easier. Let's start with today's video and work our way through the title explanation, the genre, the structure and plot, the settings, the characters, the narrative techniques, and finally the themes. Beowulf is a poem from the Anglo-Saxon oral tradition. Throughout the Anglo-Saxon period, the concept of authorship was not understood. Literature was viewed as a shared heritage rather than the work of a single person. This is especially true with Beowulf. This epic poem was influenced by dramatic tradition and went through several changes before taking on its final form. It was composed between 600 and 800 by an anonymous author, and it was later written down in the West Saxon dialect by two scribes. The only surviving manuscript that contains Beowulf is one from the 11th century. The manuscript in question is now preserved at the British Library. Let's think about the title. Without a doubt, the title of this epic poem refers to the main character. A deeper examination finds that the term may be further divided into bee and wolf, or bee hunter, which is another way of saying bear, making it an ideal fit for a great fighter like Beowulf. So we can say that the title is also a kenning referring to the hero. Let's now discuss the genre. During the Anglo-Saxon period, the epic poem was the most popular genre. Please visit our website literaturenoTrouble.com for more information about the epic poem. A short video is also available on our YouTube channel. It's now time to move on to the next literary element, structure and plot. The poem has a total of 3,182 lines that a scop set to music and words to commemorate the actions of the mythical hero Beowulf. The poem is divided into two parts, and in each Beowulf encounters a strong enemy. The story of Beowulf, a Scandinavian prince who represents bravery, honesty, and sacrifice, is told in the first part. He leaves Sweden and travels across the sea to assist the Danish king Hrothgar, who is struggling with two monsters, Grendel and Grendel's mother. In the second part, Beowulf is a king. He has reigned happily for 50 years, but he has now to fight a dragon that is causing chaos. During the battle, he is fatally wounded, and the poem closes with the burial of the hero. The setting in time and the setting in place are the next elements to consider. Beowulf portrays a period in ancient Germanic history when paganism and Christianity coexisted around the 6th century. Despite the fact that the poem was composed in Old English, the events take place in Denmark, Sweden, and Geatland in southern Scandinavia, not in Britain. The poem shows a solid knowledge of Swedish history and artifacts, and we can see how similar the heroes and legends of the Anglo-Saxons and other Germanic peoples were. The characters are the next point in the presentation of this epic poem. We'll focus on the protagonist. Beowulf, like heroes in earlier epics, confronts his greatness against fate, which is infinitely strong, powerful, and merciless. Beowulf shows all of the ideal warrior's attributes and qualities like loyalty, bravery, strength, and wisdom. He is not shown as a flat character, though. As the poem progresses, the audience can see how his courage evolves from the heroic acts he employed to defeat Grendel to a more sophisticated kind of awareness when he is an established ruler. The battle with the monster Grendel is a key component of Beowulf's life because it demonstrates that he possesses all the characteristics of a great monarch, such as courage and loyalty to both his people and himself. Let's explore now the main narrative techniques. Language has always been the main barrier readers have to face while reading the work nowadays. Understanding the original Anglo-Saxon or Old English is really impossible. Several recent English translations have made the poem considerably simpler to grasp. The translation by Seamus Heaney, for example, gave the poem new vitality. It also respects the spirit of the poem. Anglo-Saxon poetry is frequently characterized by a regular stress pattern. Each line may be divided into two halves, and each half has two primary stresses. Beowulf is a good example of this pattern. The poem frequently makes use of kennings, which are two words combined together to generate complex metaphors. For example, the whale road for the ocean. One may argue that kennings are the forerunners of compound words, like, for example, sky candle for the sun. It's also quite common to find in the text the same thing is explained in several ways using various terms. The final point of this presentation of a literary work is devoted to the themes. A significant part of the book is didactic for both heroes and kings. It offers guidance for rulers while highlighting the qualities a hero should have. The poem examines what courage is and what qualities characterize a great leader. Beowulf's development as a man, a leader, and a warrior is fully described. Early in his life, he adopts the role of a warrior, a man who shows strength and exploits his physicality to gain the support he needs. Throughout the poem, we can see how he develops his skills as a leader, and when he becomes a king, more than ever, his bravery depends on his moral qualities rather than on his physical strength. The conflict between good and evil is at the center of the poem. Beowulf is a metaphor for the nobleman who is always faced with the difficulty of triumphing against evil. The supernatural is another theme. The poem is filled with monsters and dragons. They are a threat and a manifestation of the devil, and the hero must destroy and exorcise them. They also represent the struggles the hero must face in order to grow as a leader and a person. We cannot avoid mentioning the Christian values among the themes. The poem makes numerous allusions to Christian values and characters, such as the idea of God as an almighty father or the concept of a Christian hell. Of course, these elements are not part of the original story. They were presumably added later by the unknown author, who was probably a Christian. That's all for today. We've covered 7 elements to present Beowulf. More information is available on the website Literature No Trouble. See you soon.